Hey everybody, Andrew here. Years ago, when I created Valiant Button Mashing, my goal was always to segue towards becoming a writing focused channel. Whether you know me through this channel or in life, you may be surprised to find that storytelling is what actually gets me up in the day to day. I intended for my novel, Champions of Tedron, to be my first reveal here as an author. But this year's brought many a curveball. Kickstarting sooner with the script I've had seems best. Um, what is Hunters of Eden? 10 years ago, when I was near 22 and enamored by comics and anime, I wrote a TV pilot for a screenwriting contest. The world is a cyberpunk future based on an alternate chain of events from the world ending 2012 scare, where a fraction of humanity developed powers under the radar. The long line would be Blade Runner meets X Men. Uh, expect to be dropped in a 2062 where life is both similar and different than ours, meeting rich characters shaped by adventure, love, hardship, and war. Uh, no, I'm aware that this version isn't the most crisp, but I've had to rush to complete this as I'm losing my apartment at the end of the month due to things that are beyond my control. Not money related, as that could be solved. I also had expected to have a voice cast for all these characters, but that fell apart to my dismay. Lastly, be warned, this ends on a cliffhanger. Uh, were this to ever grow, I can foresee myself proceeding like the tale. If you find Hunters of Eden as your jam, spread the word to the masses. Regardless, enjoy. Hunters of Eden, written by Andrew Ladaquente. Fade in. Bang! The barrel of a gun fires. External Harper family cottage. Front yard morning. The slow collapse of a woman to the ground. In front of her, standing a line of soldiers with their guns drawn. Her body hits the floor, joining an already deceased man, matching wedding bands upon each of their ring fingers. Looking on are two children, twin boys of 12 years. Devastation a constant. Idle one remains, the other beginning a morbid walk to the murdered couple. Emotions unravel, but inaudible are the cries to the still twin. His focus has yet to divert from the lifeless. They are beautiful, as if the taking of their lives robs the world, them, of much more. Women, voiceover, singing. At dawn, two boys set out on a journey. His attention is drawn to the expression of sorrow by his other half. Woman, voiceover. Together they travel, enjoying Earth's sacred bounty. The soldiers aim to silence the cries. Bubbling to the surface is the statuesque twins' rage upon noticing. Simultaneously, every soldier finds themselves lifting off the ground. All are befuddled. All are already doomed. Suspended puppets. The infuriated boy, the puppet master. Cut 2. Interior, P&P Industries, underground cryo chamber. Closed feminine islands, the kind possessed by a young girl. Full face not visible due to the cryopod, metal container in which one is frozen in order to prolong their life. She sleeps in. Only her eyes revealed by a thin sliver of glass. Observing stands Sebastian Powell, a business-oriented old man, late 60s, needing a cane to stand. Remorseful eyes appear fixated before tracing down its metal to see a logo. P&P Industries, and an electronic timer reading 32 years. 358 days, 20 hours, 5 minutes, 24 seconds, with the seconds counting upward. Suddenly, swish! Behind Sebastian, a door opens, causing him to turn around. Mitchell, off screen. Awfully late to be working, don't you think, Dr. Powell? Across the room in a freight elevator is Mitchell Patterson, another old man in a business suit, late 50s. He walks towards Sebastian, the doors closing behind himself. Mitchell continued. And on Christmas Eve, no less. Mitchell stops next to Sebastian, who is looking at him. Sebastian. Mitchell, it's been over 30 years. You can stop calling me Dr. Powell. Sebastian will do just fine. Mitchell. Apologies, Sebastian. Old habits and whatnot. From what I can see, you're still a slave to yours. Their attention turns to the girl. A brief pause shared. Sebastian. Jane must be rather upset you're not home for the holiday dinner with the kids. She may wring your neck before the gifts are even opened. Mitchell. Where do you get such a ludicrous perception of my wife? She's a saint. Sebastian. Well, to you, she has to be. Me, on the other hand, I don't believe there's a single day where she hasn't despised me. Mitchell. That's because she still remembers the days when you were my superior. Sebastian. I'm still your superior. Mitchell. I thought we were partners. Sebastian. We are, but last time I checked, 51% of a company is better than 49. Mitchell. Believe me, I won't be losing sleep over 2%. Otherwise, why name me vice president? Sebastian reaches out a hand to touch the cryopod. Sebastian. Trust. Back then, you were the only one. Mitchell. Still am. Sebastian's hand returns to his side, smiling at Mitchell. Sebastian. Right you are, old friend. Mitchell briefly glances at the elevator. Mitchell, shall we go? Sebastian. Go where? Mitchell. To my house, of course. Jane always tends to cook more dishes than we can eat during the holidays. They walk to the elevator, Mitchell helping Sebastian along. Sebastian. As long as she doesn't poison my food. Mitchell. It's not like she knows you're coming. Sebastian. Christ, now I'm worried she's gonna poison yours. Mitchell gives a chuckle and they reach the elevator doors. He moves his hand to the wall where there is a small sensor. A holographic keypad appears. He types in a sequence of numbers 112030 and the elevator doors open. Sebastian continued. Tell me, Mitchell. Interior P&P Industries freight elevator. Continuous. The two men step into the elevator and turn around, facing the metal casing across the room. Sebastian. Do you believe that I did the right thing? Am doing the right thing? Mitchell. I believe you did what you had to, and still are. A look of melancholy graces Sebastian's face. Mitchell continued. Elevator. Laboratory level. Elevator. Laboratory level. Interior, P&P Industries underground cryo chamber continues. The doors to the elevator close, the girl in the case sleeping peacefully, even after the old man had left. Cut to black. Elevator music begins playing, then click-clack, as if a gun is being loaded. Cut to interior apartment building, elevator, night. The slide of a pistol being pulled back. Holding it is Bryce Harper, 27. Young but lacking innocence. A tattoo on his neck. A3E and a cross hangs. His attention is on his gun, but is taken by his reflection in the doors. A brief stare down occurs before the gun is aimed, the hammer being cocked. Bryce. Beat. Bang. Imitating firing, Bryce is caught reflecting. He then twirls his gun into its holster, leaning back on the elevator wall and beginning to hum its tune. The ksh of static interrupts. Danny off screen. Bryce, come in. Can you hear me? Bryce's hand moves to his ear, which has an earpiece in it. Bryce, like the voice of God, Danny, like the voice of God. Cut 2. Interior, King's Bounty HQ, Danny's quarters. A dark room, light only coming from a holographic computer screen. Danny Andrews, 24, slim with intelligence, sits at it, hastily typing on a keyboard, also a hologram. Danny, that's a relief. I figured by the silence you were dead. Bryce, off screen. I'm sure security would have made sure of that if I responded. Danny motions his hand, a video of Bryce in the elevator appearing on his screen. He watches as Bryce's head shifts toward the security camera. Bryce continued. Hopefully, there won't be an issue anymore now that you have eyes on me. You do have eyes on me, right? Danny, like the eye of God, Bryce. Like the eye of God. Back 2. Interior, apartment building, elevator, continuous. Bryce laughs as the elevator stops on the floor. Bryce, you can't ever just be original. The doors open, revealing an old woman. She's hesitant to walk in upon seeing Bryce. His hand points a finger upward. Bryce, continue. Going up? Her eyes focus on the gun at Bryce's side. Slowly, she shakes her head and the elevator closes. Bryce, continue. Okay. She acted like she's never seen an ex-hunter before. Danny, off screen. Would you expect anything else from the Eden wealthy? Bryce glances at an electronic screen to see that he's only on the 54th floor out of 72. Bryce, yes, a faster elevator. The target could have left his accessories penthouse for all we know. Interior, King's Bounty HQ, Danny's quarters, continuous. Danny taps the screen, video of an empty corridor with a door to the penthouse and 2 elevators appearing. Danny, you're good. There hasn't been any movement since you entered the building. On the screen, one elevator opens. A scandalously clad woman stepping out to make her way to the penthouse door, knocking. Danny continued. Wait a second. Is that? Danny leans in for a closer look as she's let into the room. Danny continued. Oh, fuck. Bryce, off screen. Viv? Danny. Yeah, how'd you know? Interior, apartment building, elevator, continuous. Bryce pulls out his gun and holds it in the ready position. The elevator is about to finally stop at the penthouse. Bryce. Let's just say that I have a sixth sense whenever it comes to her. Danny, off screen. How could I forget? Ding! Interior, apartment building, hallway, continuous. The elevator opens and Bryce steps out, moving quickly to the penthouse door. Bryce. Door. Interior, King's Bounty, HQ, Danny's headquarters, continuous. Danny typing with urgency. Danny. Done. Interior, apartment building, hallway, continuous. A red thumbprint scanner in place of a doorknob turns green. The door slides open to reveal a luxurious living room. Interior, penthouse, living room, continuous. Walking in, Bryce looks around the room but sees no one. Danny, off screen. Are they in there? I lost visual. Bryce. No, I'm going to check. Crash.
comes from the second level of the penthouse. Bryce continued. Upstairs. Bryce makes his way across the room to a spiral staircase. Smoke pouring down from the top. Danny off screen. Just be careful. The file on the target suggests he isn't to be taken lightly. Cautiously, Bryce moves up the stairs. Danny continued. Besides. Interior, penthouse, second level, continuous. Bryce's vision is smilled with flames spread across a small hallway. A charred body near an open bedroom door. Danny, off screen, continued. We both know what Viv can do. Cut 2. Exterior, penthouse, balcony, moments later. A snow-covered balcony, a broken glass door separating it from a bedroom currently ablaze. Into said bedroom bursts Bryce, clothes caught by fire. Like a banshee, he moves for the balcony, diving into its snow once there. Flames gone, he stands and sees the city. Eden, but no more. Bryce. Fuck. I lost them. He tries to collect himself at the balcony's railing. Danny, off screen. Aw man. Sam's gonna be pissed. 300,000 Drebins down the drain. Contemplating, Bryce takes note of Eden. Its appearance is futuristic. PMP Industries, the tallest building. Other skyscrapers stand, a large wall concealed within their shadows. Then, boom! Bryce's head shifts up toward the roof. Bryce. Actually, don't count me out just yet. Cut 2. Exterior, apartment building, rooftop, moments later. The edge of a roof as Bryce's hand rises up to grab it. He is pulling himself onto the roof. The crackling of fire heard and its glow brightening the complexion of his skin through the darkness of the night as he stands. Vivian, off screen. How like a man to keep a beautiful woman waiting. Before Bryce stands the woman from the hallway, her back to him. A raging fire covers her body, yet she and her clothes are unscathed. This is Vivian Gray, 28. Beautiful but fierce, with dark hair containing a noticeable purple strand. Vivian continued, looking back. Any longer and I would have thought you stood me up. Bryce, approaching. Forgive me for being reluctant towards another one of our meetings. The memory of what happened in Elysium is still rather fresh. Come to take another bounty from me? Bryce stops next to Vivian, dismissive of her presence. Vivian. Being a next hunter is extremely competitive. Turning forward. I figure you would have learned that back at least. In front of the two is a wall of fire stretching from each side of the roof. Through the flames they can see a man on the other side as he looks down the other edge of the roof. Bryce. Is that Mayhem, Mike? Vivian. The one and only Bryce. Hey, Mayhem! The voice of Bryce reaches the man's ear, slowly turning to reveal himself as Mayhem Mike, the target. Bryce continued. You've got nowhere to go. We're here, an 80-story drop there. Let's not make this any harder than it has to be. Mayhem's focus shifts to the night sky above. Mayhem. You know, in prison, I never got to see the night sky. I think they didn't want us to have any sense of hope, freedom. One could say that it was true definition of a hellhole. Bryce aims his gun at Mayhem. I'll say it again, Mayhem. We can still resolve this peacefully. Stand down. Vivian, aside. He's not going to. Mayhem's attention returns to Bryce. I'm through with peace. He begins undoing the buttons of his dress shirt. Mayhem continued. This place, Eden, they call it a utopia, but it was only built to make us slaves. We lost 80% of our people because of the war. So why does it matter? Removing his shirt. If I kill a few worthless humans. Shirtless, Mayhem's muscles begin to contort as his frame grows larger in both height and weight, his skin transforms into a hard gray-black material. Bryce. Damn it, Mike! We don't have to do this! Vivian, why are you hesitating? He's going to change! Reacting swiftly, Vivian attacks. The flames upon her body combine with the wall of fire before all of the flames are thrust upon Mayhem like a flamethrower on a firefly. However, Vivian finds herself in shock as Mayhem walks through the flames in his new imposing body, seemingly unharmed. Vivian continued. Impossible. How? Mayhem. Approaching. Fire-resistant carbon, my dear. Seeing that there's no longer any use for reason, Bryce finally regains his nerve. He pushes Vivian to the side, holding out his gun. Bryce. Let's see if it's bullet resistant. Bryce pulls the trigger several times. However, the bullets become crushed upon impact with Mayhem's new skin, falling to the floor of the roof. Clank, clank, clank. Bryce continued. Fuck. Mayhem immediately charges at the two, his heavy frame creating cracks in the floor with every step. Despite his size, he is quite fast. Vivian and Bryce both roll to opposite sides of the roof in order to avoid Mayhem's carbon-coated fist, which instead smashes into the floor. Mayhem, not the brightest next hunter, are you? Rising. As a shapeshifter, I can change my body however I see fit. Mayhem turns so that he is facing Bryce, his back to Vivian. He extends his arm out towards Bryce in a taunting manner. Mayhem continued. My carbonized skin is harder than diamond, but I can just as easily make it sharper. His hand takes the shape of a carbon-covered claw. Bryce, standing. I advise you to quit while you're ahead, Mike. More. Bryce continued. You're only gonna make things worse for yourself than they already are. Mayhem. Nothing is worse than the cell I was put in after the war. Now that I can use my powers again, I'm never going back. Vivian. Then allow me to take them from you. While Mayhem was focusing on Bryce, Vivian used the opportunity to jump onto the shapeshifter's back. He tried to shake her off, but she had her arm wrapped around his neck in order to keep herself in place. In her other hand was a futuristic collar with words Neck Suppressor on it, and the PMP Industries logo in smaller lettering. However, before she had the chance to put it on him, something wrapped around her throat. Bryce! Vivian! Mayhem had grown a lizard-like tail, and was currently strangling Vivian in order to keep her from placing the collar on his neck. The appendage brought the girl around so that she was now held up a few feet above the ground in front of Mayhem's body for Bryce to see. Mayhem. Vivian, eh? Laughs. It seems you have quite the relationship with this girl. I wonder what your reaction will be to her having her trachea crushed. The grip of the tail around Vivian's neck tightens. Struggling for breath, flames appear around her body in an attempt to burn Mayhem so that he would let her go, but he had carbonized the tail as well. Mayhem continued. I told you that won't work on you. Mayhem brings his claw inches from her stomach, looking at Bryce. Mayhem continued. Maybe it would be better if I gut her first. What do you think? Bryce puts his Jericho 9-for-1 back in its holster, staring coldly back at Mayhem. Bryce, I think if you want to make it off this roof with your limbs still intact, you will let her go. Mayhem, that's not one of the options. Mayhem pulls back his claw, preparing to thrust it into Vivian's stomach, when suddenly, rip, followed by the falling of Mayhem's tail with Vivian to the floor. Screams of pain and agony come from Mayhem, the coughing of Vivian heard as well as she tries to regain her breath. Mayhem reached behind himself to where his tail usually was, and brought his hand back to his face to see it drenched in blood. Mayhem continued, looking at Bryce. You son of a bitch! What the fuck did you do to me? Bryce. I didn't want to do that, but you forced my hand. Maybe you'll listen the next time a man offers an act of kindness.
Mayhem. Just shut up! What do you know about kindness? You're an ex-hunter, a traitor to your own kind. Mayhem ignores Vivian on the floor and charges at Bryce, his mind clouded by both pain and rage. Upon reaching Bryce, Mayhem raises his claw to swing down on him. Rip. The entire arm is separated from his body and sent flying across the roof. Wide-eyed, Mayhem looks at his severed arm on the floor before looking at Bryce. However, Mayhem loses his balance and falls onto the floor at Bryce's feet. He realizes that his right leg was removed from his body as well. Bryce. A traitor, huh? A traitor to what? Thieves, rapists, murderers? Struggling, Mayhem manages to tilt his head up to look at Bryce from the floor. Bryce continued, "Don't put me in the same category as a pathetic psychopath such as yourself." A reddish glow begins to emit from Bryce's eyes. Bryce continued, "I'm far worse." Finally regaining her breath, Vivian stands up and looks across the roof to see Mayhem's body begin to rise from the ground until he was suspended in midair, face to face with Bryce, blood dripping onto the floor from his wounds. Vivian. Oh God, not again. Vivian begins to run over towards the two. Too tired to speak, Mayhem thinks as he looks at the next hunter before him. Mayhem. Voiceover. This man, there's no doubt he's the devil. Bryce. Voiceover. No. Bryce extends his hand out and touches Mayhem's forehead, his skin returning to normal, beginning from the point that Bryce touched. Bryce. Voiceover. But if he exists, you'll be seeing him soon. Vivian. Bryce, stop! Vivian reaches Bryce and grabs his arm to get his attention. Vivian continued, "Don't let it control you." Bryce gives her an emotionless stare before looking down at the cross that hangs from his neck. The red in his eyes disappears, and Mayhem's body falls to the ground. Vivian lets go and kneels down to place a collar around his neck. Danny, off screen. Bryce, I'm getting a transmission over the NCT radio wire. Interior, King's Bounty HQ, Danny's quarters continuous. Danny, still at the computer, taps the screen. The hologram minimizes to the form of a horizontal rectangle. On one side of the now smaller screen is the law enforcement shield with the words "Next Containment Team" placed over it, and on the other side is a radio frequency that moves as the voice of a female officer begins to emit from the computer. Dispatch officer, off screen. NCT Unit 6, explosions have been reported coming from the rooftop of apartment building 241 on Wexler Street in your vicinity. You are required to investigate as the possibility of Next being involved is rather high. NCT officer off screen. Copy that, dispatch. We're on our way. Danny. Looks like they heard you. They're sending a team to your location. Danny touches the screen with both of his index fingers and stretches it out until it takes the form of a map of the city, with one yellow dot that is stationary and a blue dot that is moving in the direction of the yellow dot. Danny continued, "It should arrive in approximately 2 minutes. If you want the credit for the job, you better wrap things up before they get there." Exterior, apartment building, rooftop, continuous. Bryce is looking down at Vivian as she cauterizes Mayhem's wounds with her flames, grunts being heard from the injured next until he finally passes out from the pain. Bryce. Understood. Bryce brings his hand up to his face, rubbing his forehead as if he had a headache. Cut 2. Interior, NCT transport, cargo hold. In the cargo hold, there are about 7 men in uniforms, similar to that of a SWAT team, loading futuristic-looking rifles. On their sleeves are patches that say NCT in big letters and the words Unit 6 underneath in smaller letters. 6 are seated, 3 on each side, while the last one is standing in between the 2 rows. one arm raised as it holds onto a handle hanging from the ceiling in order to keep himself in place as the vehicle travels at high velocities. He's a gruff-looking 46-year-old man with an eye patch, going by the name of Trevor Hawkins. Trevor: alright man, we'll be arriving at our destination in T-minus 60 seconds. There's no telling what the situation will be like once we get to the roof of the building, but I want you all to be ready for anything, especially you, rookie. During his last sentence, Trevor looks at a soldier to his left. Out of panic, the soldier known as Rookie fumbles the magazine of his rifle and tries to pick it up nonchalantly. Trevor simply shakes his head in a disappointment before the voice of the transport's pilot comes over a speaker. Pilot, off screen. Major Hawkins, we're approaching building 241 now. Trevor, confirmed. Back 2. Exterior, apartment building, rooftop. Vivian finishes cauterizing Mayhem's last wound before finally standing. Vivian: that should do it. Vivian looks at Bryce before stepping forward so that they're face to face. Vivian continued, angry: mind telling me how you lost control this time? What you did was highly excessive. Bryce: later. Right now we have company. Vivian: company? The sound of a flying vehicle is heard overhead, and Vivian looks up to see the NCT transport hovering. Slowly, it descends on the other side of the roof. The rear of the transport opening to reveal the soldiers in the cargo hold as they jump out onto the roof, fanning out in formation with their guns aimed ahead of themselves at Bryce and Vivian as they stand above Mayhem's unconscious body. Vivian: Rookie: sir, there looks to be 3 targets. Should we open fire? Trevor's hand reaches out from behind Rookie and is placed on his gun, pushing the gun down so that it is aimed at the floor. Trevor: at ease, Rookie. Trevor steps out from behind the line of soldiers, looking ahead at Bryce, Vivian, Mayhem. Trevor continued: as much as I want to give the order to fire, the 2 next who are standing are allies. Trevor and Bryce exchange a brief stare, the disdain for one another obvious. Trevor continued: so I see you're back here, Vita, and I was just beginning to enjoy the peace and quiet. Trevor approaches Bryce and Vivian until they're all face to face. Bryce: Trevor Hawkins. I figured you would have retired already. Trevor: you'd like that, wouldn't you? Bryce sarcastically: me? No. I like having NCTs constantly up my ass. How's my favorite captain doing? Trevor, agitated: it's Major now. Don't forget it. Bryce: and I'm not your trainee anymore. Don't forget that. Vivian quickly rushes to step in between the 2, extending her arms to each one's chest to keep them separated. Vivian: calm down, you 2. We're on the same side here. Trevor: I'll never understand how they let a disrespectful punk like you become a next hunter. Bryce: I think it has something to do with that eye patch you're currently wearing. Trevor: you motherfucker. A flame sparks up from Vivian's body, causing both men to jump back. Vivian: that's enough. 2 years and both of you are still the same. I just about had it. Bryce and Trevor become silent. Neither want to acknowledge the truth of the woman's words, but arguing won't help either do their respective jobs. Displeased, Trevor walks over to the soldiers. Trevor: okay man, you know the drill. Clean up and payment. Washburn, I want you and McKellen to get a stretcher out of the transport for Mayhem Mike's body. Washburn, McKellen: yes sir. The 2 soldiers head back over to the transport and Trevor focuses on 2 more soldiers, Jameson and Rogers. Trevor: Jameson and Rogers, go around the roof and secure Mayhem's missing limbs. Jameson looks at the severed tail across the roof. Jameson: even the tail? Trevor: yes, Jameson, even the tail. Jameson's reluctance is apparent,
Rogers, don't be a pussy, Jameson. Rogers' face is suddenly met by the barrel of Jameson's gun. Jameson, I will shoot you and make it look like an accident. Trevor, quit dicking around, both of you, and get your asses moving. Jameson and Rogers leave the group, Trevor's attention on the final two soldiers. Trevor continued. Kowalski, NCT soldier number 3. Yes, Major. Trevor, go over to the next hunters and give them their bounty. Kowalski, nervous. Me? Kowalski looks over at Bryce and Vivian, who look to be in conversation, giving a gulp as he sees Washburn and McKellen bring the stretcher for Mayhem's body. Kowalski continued. Are you sure maybe you don't want to do it, Major? Trevor, you're the one who carries the Drebin scanner, right? Kowalski, yes. Trevor, then go do your fucking job. Kowalski jumps and runs off to Bryce and Vivian. Kowalski, yes sir. Trevor, to Rookie, go with him. You'll need to learn how to do it sooner or later. Rookie, what about you, Major? Trevor, I need to smoke. Trevor heads over to the edge of the roof, taking out a pack of cigarettes from one of the pouches on his vest. Rookie looks at him briefly before following Kowalski over to Bryce and Vivian, who are talking as Washburn and McKellen leave their side with Mayhem on the stretcher. Bryce, you alright? Vivian, rubbing her neck. I've been better. Bryce notices a cut on her cheek. Bryce, pointing. You're bleeding. Vivian touches the cut, seeing blood on her fingers. Vivian, it must have happened when I hit the ground. It's nothing to worry about, though. Only a scratch. Vivian looks back at Bryce to see that he is now closer to her than he was before, catching her off guard. Bryce, you know you don't always have to act so tough for me. Bryce smiles at her. Their eyes lock momentarily in a one-time gaze. Vivian, neither do you. Bryce places his hand on Vivian's cheek as she clenches at his jacket. Silence fills the air between them briefly. Bryce, I'm sorry. Before Vivian can respond, Kowalski interrupts with Rookie behind him. Kowalski, identification cards, please. The two quickly back away from each other, focusing on the two NCT soldiers before them. Bryce, frustrated. Kowalski, for the Drebin transfer. Bryce, alright. Bryce reaches into his pockets, searching for his card. Vivian reaches into her top, pulling out a blue card, and hands it to Kowalski. She looks at Bryce, who is still searching for his. Vivian, having some trouble? Bryce, rechecking pockets. I can't seem to find one. Looking around. I must have lost it during the fight. Vivian, to Kowalski. Just put his half on my card for now. I'll give it to him later when we find his. Kowalski, sure thing, man. Kowalski, seeming to have calmed, reaches into a pocket on his vest, pulling out a scanner. Bryce, thanks, Viv. Rookie continues to observe what Kowalski does. The scanner has a small screen on it that responds to touch. Kowalski using his thumb to scroll down a list of names with pictures next to them. He reaches a name with the picture of Mayhem Mike next to it. After clicking on it, Mayhem's file is opened, the most notable words being bounty, 300,000 Drebins. Kowalski inserts Vivian's card into the scanner from the top. A picture of her appears on screen with her file, the notable words this time being Certified Next Hunter. Transferring pops up on the screen. Transfer complete, replacing it shortly after. Kowalski pulls out the card and hands it back to Vivian. Kowalski, here you go. As Vivian takes it back, Kowalski can't help but notice the glare Bryce has on him. Bryce, voiceover. Metafucks, huh? Immediately, Kowalski begins to plead. Kowalski, I'm sorry, please don't scramble my brain. Both Vivian and Rookie watch as Kowalski pleads, tears starting to run down his face. They then look to Bryce, who has a sadistic smirk right before bursting out into laughter. Trevor, what the hell's going on over there? Trevor yells at them from across the roof as he takes a drag of a cigarette. Bryce, there's nothing to worry about. This soldier was just being a little racist. Trevor, Bryce, you better not be fucking with my troops. Trevor takes another drag. Trevor continued. Rookie, tell Kowalski to stop crying and take him back into the transport. Rookie nods. Yes, sir. Trevor goes back to smoking as Rookie reaches down, placing his hand on Kowalski's shoulder. Rookie continued. Come on, Kowalski, let's go. Kowalski sniffs. Okay. Kowalski slowly stands and they walk to the transport. Vivian, you're cruel. Bryce, he had it coming. You should have heard what he was thinking about us. Interior, NCT Transport Cargo Hold. Rookie and Kowalski reach the transport, seeing Mayhem on a stretcher and all of the other members of the team sitting down in their seats as they shake their heads. They both sit down, Kowalski sniffing one more time as he looks at the rest of the guys. Kowalski, shut up. Exterior apartment building rooftop. Trevor throws his cigarette on the floor and steps on it, grinding his foot to put it out. He turns to walk over to Bryce and Vivian, who are watching as he does so. Bryce, aside to Vivian. Out of all the things to survive the war, you wouldn't have thought cigarettes would have been one of them. Vivian, remember I'm a smoker, right? Bryce, a bad habit that you need to stop. Trevor reaches out. Trevor, so, I'm hoping that this will be the last time I see you two tonight. Vivian looks up at the sky, noticing that the sun is rising. Vivian, well, considering it's practically over. Trevor, good. Trevor turns around and starts walking towards the transport. Bryce, a pleasure as always, Hawkins. Trevor stops in his tracks, pausing momentarily. Trevor, it was good to see you again. Vivian. Trevor starts again, eventually walking into the transport. Bryce and Vivian watch as it closes behind him and takes off. Bryce. He hasn't changed a bit. The two look at each other afterwards. Vivian. Did you ever expect him to? Bryce. No. Though it'd be nice to go back to the way things were. Vivian, looking away. We'd all like that. Vivian stays quiet for a moment, Bryce knowing he said something wrong. He tries to ease the tension. Bryce, what are you doing later? Vivian, I'll be at the Nest tonight around 8 with my crew. We need to get some more info for the next possible bounty. Bryce, I guess I'll see you then. Vivian, don't be late this time. Bryce, I won't. Vivian raises her hand to her ear, touching an earpiece similar to Bryce's. Vivian, Luca, an exit please. A male voice with a Russian accent comes from the earpiece. Luca, off screen. Da, right away, Vivian. About 10 feet in front of Vivian and Bryce, a large circular dimensional portal opens up, Vivian walking towards it before stopping to look back at Bryce. Vivian. Oh, and Bryce? Bryce. Yeah, Viv? Vivian reaches into her top, pulling out a second card, and throws it over to Bryce, who catches it. He looks at the card, seeing that it was the one he had been looking for all along, and immediately looks up at Vivian in shock. Vivian, I forgive you. Bryce goes to run after Vivian, but she jumps back through the portal before he can get there. It almost closes instantly, leaving Bryce alone on the roof. He stands there silently, reflecting on everything that had happened. Bryce. Damn it. In the distance, atop another building, a black crow is seen, looking at Bryce before flying off. Cut 2. Interior, King's Bounty HQ, aircraft hangar, morning. A large scientifically advanced aircraft sits inside of a hangar with the roof open and the sunlight pouring in. Despite being futuristic, it looks somewhat beat up, as if it had taken too many nights out. To the side of the ship is a tall man, on a floating stand as he cleans parts of it. He is dark of skin and looking to be 40, but is still in great shape. Next occurs a montage of him cleaning various parts of the ship with a hose, squeegee, buffer, and a rag as modern-day hip-hop music plays. The last sequence of the montage has the man run a rag over the logo of the ship, King's Bounty. Off against the hangar wall is a staircase leading up to a railing where there's a door. It slides open. A woman, also 40, but of fair skin, walking through the doorway and leaning over the railing. Woman: honey. The man, lost in his cleaning, doesn't turn around. Woman continued, louder: honey. The man still doesn't turn around. Woman continued, Sam. Sam King looks back at his wife, Christine King, who makes a motion to his ear. He drops the rag in a bucket of water and reaches up to his ear, pressing an earpiece that was in it. A small holographic screen appears in front of his face with the list of modern-day songs, but out of place considering the time period. Sam. Pause. The symbol for play appears on the screen, switching to the symbol for pause. The hip-hop music that was playing stops before the entire hologram disappears as Sam takes out the earpiece and places it in his pocket. Sam continued, You say something, Christine? Christine. Yeah. Danny needs to talk to you. Sam. Do you think it can wait? I'm almost done here. Christine. I don't think so. He said it was about rice. Sam. Sigh. Of course it is. Sam bends down, pressing a button on the surface of the stand, which causes it to slowly float down to the floor. Sam continued, When is it not about rice? Sam steps off the stand and walks towards the stairs. Christine. Don't do that. Sam, making his way up the steps. Sam. Do what? Christine. Act like you don't enjoy having him as part of the team. Sam reaches the top, kissing his wife. Sam. Maybe I don't. Christine. Oh please. If that were true, you would have never bothered to take him in 8 years ago. You practically become a second father to the boy. Sam. Yes, but he isn't a boy anymore. Sam and Christine turn to walk through the doorway. Sam continued, I just want him to be able to do things on his own without me having to worry. I do plan to retire one of these days. Interior, King's Bounty HQ, hangar hallway. Christine scoffs at Sam's statement as they walk through the hallway. Christine. Retire? With the bills we get, I wouldn't hold your breath. Sam. I'm serious, Christine. Christine. And I'm serious too. You have to stop making promises that you and I both know you can't keep. It kills me to get my hopes up only to be let down again. Sam stops walking, taking Christine by her arm so that she is looking at her. Sam. Listen to me. I will find a way for us to get out of this city. All I need is the right job and for you to wait just a little bit longer. Can you do that? Christine smiles up at him. Christine. Okay. Sam and Christine start kissing, Christine pulling on Sam's shirt until they are against the hallway wall. Sam. Shouldn't I be getting to Danny? Christine. He can wait. Sam. I thought you said it was urgent. Christine. That was when you were washing the ship. Now you're with me. The married couple keep kissing. However, at the end of the hall, a blur is seen entering, stopping in front of Sam and Christine. It is their daughter, Megan King, 6, who has super speed, and is curiously looking up at her parents. Megan. What are you guys doing? Sam and Christine step away from each other after having been interrupted. Sam, nothing, Megan. Your mother and I were just, Christine? Christine, well, what are you doing here, sweetie? Megan, Danny told me to make sure you were getting Daddy. Christine, well, I got him. Go tell Danny we're on our way. Megan, smiling, okay, Mom. In a flash, Megan speeds off out of the hallway, both her parents giving sighs of relief before looking at each other. Sam, I guess we'll have to finish this later. Christine, I guess so. Cut 2. Interior, King's Bounty HQ, Medical Bay. Danny as he stands in a room with several hospital beds. In front of him is an operating table with a robotic wolf-like dog lying on its side. It is missing a leg, which is seen in pieces along the table. The dog, although robotic, appears to be whimpering. Danny, easy there, boy. I'll have you fixed up in no time. The robotic dog looks at Danny, putting its head down onto the table after, its ears lowering as if it were giving a pout. The sound of a door sliding is then heard in the background as Sam walks up behind Danny. Sam, what happened to Ace? Danny, I'm going to let you take a wild guess. Danny begins sifting through the parts of the leg, looking for the broken one. Sam, Megan? Danny, yup. Danny finds a gear that's bent in half. Danny, continued. She went too fast again. Ace blew a gear trying to keep up. Danny takes the gear and throws it over to Sam, who catches it. Sam, I'm sorry, man. I'll use the money from the bounty to pay for it. Danny, don't worry about it. Something like this is an easy fix. Danny places his hands on the table, a blue glow appearing underneath Ace as the robotic dog begins to levitate into the air along with the leg parts. Danny, continued. Besides, the bounty's actually what I want to talk to you about. Sam, oh great. What happened now? Danny, first, hand me a new gear on the stand over there. Sam looks to the side, seeing a small table with mechanical parts on it. He picks up a spare gear and hands it to Danny, who takes the gear and puts it into the blue glow, the gear levitating as well. Danny's hands return to the table, circuit board markings appearing on his skin. The parts suddenly begin to rapidly assemble as they float, forming a new robotic dog leg for Ace. On the side of the leg, the words, Animatronic Canine of Eden. Danny, continued. There, that should do it. Ace floats back down to the table, the blue glow disappearing. It stands up, stretching its new leg, and wagging its robotic tail as it goes over to Danny, licking his face. Danny, continued. Okay, stop. Why did I ever give you a saliva function? Ace stopped finally, hopping off the table. Danny, continued. Alright boy, go play. Ace goes out of the room, Danny taking off his glasses to wipe his face with his shirt. Sam, so you're going to tell me what went wrong this time? Danny, putting on glasses. Are you sure you want to know? Sam, you're the one who called me up here. Danny, true, but I'm nervous what you'll do to Bryce. Sam, just tell me it wasn't that girl, Vivian. Danny remained silent. Sam continued. Jesus. Danny, I told him to watch out for her. He didn't want to listen though. Now we're out even more, Drevins. Sam, fuck. Angry, Sam knocks over the table with Danny's parts on it. Danny is quiet again. Sam continued. Wait till he gets back. I'm going to rip him a new one. Sam goes to leave the room, heading back to the hangar. Danny reaches into his pocket, pulling out an earpiece and putting it in his ear. Danny, call Bryce. Danny waits a few seconds. Danny continued. Yeah, Bryce? You might not want to come back for a while. What? You're already here? Okay. Just don't say I didn't warn you. Cut 2. Interior, King's Bounty HQ. Aircraft hangar, moments later. In the hangar, Bryce in his flying vehicle enters via the open roof. It is much, much smaller than the King's Bounty, looking to fit only about 2 people. The top opens and Bryce climbs out, a pissed off Sam approaching him from the stairs. Sam, Bryce! Bryce, aside. Here we go. Bryce turns to Sam. Bryce, continue. Sam, before you yell at me, give me a chance so I can explain. Sam, explain? You want a chance to explain how you fucked up your second solo mission in a row? Danny told me that it was Vivian who suckered you again. Bryce, aside. Damn it, Danny. Guy can't keep his mouth shut. Sam, overhearing. Don't blame this on Danny. He's not the one out there letting bounties slip through his fingers for some girl. Bryce, hey, you weren't there. And you know how I hate when you talk about Vivian like that. Sam, she's taking money out of my family's pockets. I'll talk about her however the hell I want. Bryce and Sam have a stare down before being interrupted. Megan. Bryce. Both men break the stare to look up, seeing Megan at the top of the stairs. She looks to her side, Ace next to her. Megan continued. Come on, Ace. Big brother's here. Megan speeds down the steps, slowing as she jumps to hug Bryce. Ace barks and follows her down at its own pace. Megan continued. Hey Bryce, I'm so glad you're here. You'll never guess what Mommy and Daddy got me for Christmas. Bryce. Really? Well, I'm actually talking with your dad here about something important. Why don't you go off with Ace outside and play in the snow for a bit? I'll find you later so you can show me. Megan, pouting. Okay. To Ace. Let's go, Ace. Megan starts to walk away with Ace following. Sam. Megan, don't forget your collar. Megan turns around. Megan. Oh, but Daddy, I wanted to run. Sam. No buts, Missy. You know how much trouble you can get into if you get caught outside without a collar on. Megan. Fine, Daddy. I'll make sure to put it on. Megan and Ace leave, Sam and Bryce looking back at each other. Sam. Look, Bryce. I know you and Vivian have history, but you need to remember that she's not a part of your crew. We are, and in order for us to remain a crew, we need you to bring home the bounties. Sam places a hand on Bryce's shoulder. Sam continued. Christine and I have sacrificed too much for you to start screwing us over now. The same hand forms a fist, lightly punching his shoulder. Sam continued. So start pulling yourself together, kid. For us. Bryce. Alright, Sam. I'll make sure to do better next time. Sam. I know you will. Now come on. We need to get ready to plan the next job. Sam starts to walk towards the stairs, Bryce follows. Bryce. Sure. Just let me sleep a little bit before we head down to the mist. Cut 2. Exterior, Eden streets, night. People walking through the busy streets of Eden. There's snow falling, and the streets are covered with Christmas decorations as flying cars fly above. Some of the people have collars around their necks, while some of the people do not. Exterior, Eden. NHIS, continuous. There is a small building, much resembling a bar, with a sign reading, Next Hunter Intelligence Station, in bright neon lights. Outside are 2 bodyguards standing in front of the door. Bryce, Sam, and Danny walk up to the entrance, being stopped by the bodyguards. This bodyguard number 1. You boys got your Next Hunter IDs? Bryce, being first, takes out his card from earlier and gives it to the bouncer. At the same time, Sam is giving his ID card to the second bouncer. Each bouncer takes out a scanner and holds it up to the card. A beep is heard before the bouncers hand Bryce and Sam their cards back. This bodyguard number 1 continued. To Bryce. You're good to go. As Bryce and Sam move past the guards to the door, Danny steps up to the guard with his card out. Interior. NIS. Continuous. Bryce and Sam enter the Next Hunter Intelligence Station, the inside looking like the outside suggested. A bar is on one side, booze and tables on the other as if it were a lounge. In the back, however, there are several high-tech computers being used, and above them is a large holographic television that's broadcasting a special kind of news for Next Hunters. The people are all Next Hunters, either engaged in conversations on their next move or demonstrating their powers to one another. Shortly, Danny enters from outside as well. Danny, it's pretty packed for Christmas. I guess we're not the only ones working on the holidays. Bryce, it would seem so. Sam looks across the room, seeing a line formed in front of a closed door with more guards in front of it. Sam, alright, I'm going to go see the prophet. You two know what you're supposed to do. Danny, go to the computers, see what new information has come up on the balance. Bryce, sit at the bar and touch his forehead. Listen for any tips the other hunters might have. Sam, good. We'll meet back here once I'm finished. Sam takes a step forward, looking back at Bryce. Sam continued. Oh yeah, Bryce, try not to push yourself. Sam starts walking again, heading toward the line. Danny goes to the back where the computers are, and Bryce goes to the bar. Interior, NIS, bar section, continuous. Bryce sits at the bar, empty seats to both his right and left. The bartender goes over to him. Bartender, your drink, sir. Bryce, you're new here? Bartender, by a few months. Bryce, then there's only one thing you need to know when you see me. Whiskey, all night. The bartender walks away to make Bryce his drink. Bryce, continue. You can show yourself now, Anna. From the chair next to Bryce, a girl begins to materialize out of thin air, suggesting she was invisible. This is Anna Grusarov, 26, and she has a Russian accent. Anna, blasted. How you know I was here? Bryce, simple really. The bartender puts Bryce's drink in front of him, Bryce taking a sip. Bryce, continued. You're the only one thinking in Russian. Plus, you're like, right next to me. Anna slaps her forehead and starts swearing in Russian. Bryce laughs. Bryce, continue. So, any reason you're using your powers in here? Anna, got to be covert in order to get info. Bryce, kind of invasive, don't you think? Anna, maybe. Do people know you're reading minds? Bryce, good point. Bryce takes another sip. Bryce continued. Where's the rest of your crew? Anna, you mean where's Vivian? Bryce glares at Anna. She laughs. Anna continued. Relax. She's coming with Kaya and Luca. I just came early to eavesdrop. Bryce. Really? I would have thought it was just to bother me. Anna. Niet. But if you really want to be bothered, Anna seductively touches Bryce's drinking arm. Vivian, off screen. Careful, Anna. Anna and Bryce look behind them to see Vivian, wearing much less revealing clothing than earlier, with Kyle Vance, 28, and Luka Gusarov, 25, who is trying to hold in his laughter behind her. Vivian sits down in the empty seat on the other side of Bryce. Vivian, continued. Touching things that don't belong to you is a surefire way to get yourself in trouble, and I promise your invisibility won't help you. Anna takes her hand away from Bryce. Anna, that's okay. I only tease her a bit. Anna rises, going to Kyle and Luca, who is now unable to control his laughter. Anna, continue, to Luca in Russian. Shut up, baby bro. The two siblings begin arguing as they walk away to the tables. Kyle, on the other hand, is glaring at Bryce. Kyle. Bryce. Bryce. Kyle. Kyle then walks away to join the others, Vivian giggling in her seat. Bryce continued. He's as charming as ever. Vivian. He's just being Kyle. Bryce takes a sip again. Bryce. So, what's with the outfit? Vivian. You don't like? Bryce. I do. It's just I remember yours being a lot more revealing earlier. Vivian. Yeah, I had gotten a tip that Mayhem and his friend had ordered a call girl, so I needed to look the part in order to get inside. Bryce, I see. Bryce goes to take another sip but stops. Bryce continued. And what's with me being your pet now? Vivian. Oh, you heard that? Bryce. That, among other things, but I guess I am, considering how many times I let you slip away with my bounty. Vivian. You know, you can always stop me. You choose to make things harder for yourself, despite being a telepath. If I had to guess, I'd say you like this little game of ours. Vivian bats her eyelashes at Bryce, who doesn't answer, instead taking another sip. Cut 2. Interior, NIST, back section, moments later. In the back, Sam is at the front of the line for the guarded door. He steps forward, the bodyguard patting him down. NIST bodyguard number 3. Okay, you can go. Sam nods, going through the door. Interior, NIST, the Prophet's room, continuous. Inside the room, there is a man at a table, smoking on a cigar. The Prophet. Sam makes his way over to the opposite side, taking a seat and putting his jacket on the back of the chair. Sam. I don't know why you have them still search me. You and I both know they'll never find a weapon on me. Prophet. Too many times I predicted you walking through that door and killing me. Sam. And too many times have you predicted that my crew and I would die. Which, actually, has me questioning why I still pay for your services. Prophet. One cannot see every future, just the one you are currently headed to at this point in time. Still, if it wasn't for my predictions, you would have no doubt died many of your missions ago. The Prophet takes a puff of his cigar. Prophet continued. Do you have your payment? Sam takes out his ID card, putting it on the slot on the table. A holographic screen comes up saying 20,000 drepens, and then transfer complete before Sam takes his card back. Prophet continued. Very well, let's get started. The Prophet ashes out his cigars, extending his hand. Prophet continued. Your hand, please. Sam extends his hand. The Prophet rolls up his sleeves and takes Sam's hand. Momentarily, his eyes go white, and the lights in the room begin to flicker. Prophet continued. It's hard to make this one out. There are too many wills involved to predict an exact outcome. But there is indeed a death. Sam, as always, Prophet. However, it is not only your crew that will suffer it, but all of you. No, all of life as we know it could cease to exist if this reality were to hold true. Sam, that doesn't make sense. From a bounty hunter mission? How is that possible? Prophet. It will not be a mission, but rather something that you and the ones you hold dear will be thrust into. Sam. Tell me how. I need to know how. Prophet. It's very faint. I'm beginning to lose it. Sam. Don't give me that, you cheap bastard. I want an answer. The lights stop flickering, and the Prophet's eyes turn to their normal. Prophet. I lost it. Sam. Fuck. Why do I even bother? Prophet. We could always try again. All it'll take is another 20,000 drepens. The Prophet smirks, hitting the slot on the table. Sam stands, grabbing his jacket and putting it back on. Sam. What scum you are. You find out the world is in danger and your only concern is money? Prophet. Spare me the guilt trip, Sam. I know what I am, and if the world is truly going to be as I've seen it, I intend to enjoy my time here while I still have it. I suggest you do the same. Sam, I'm going to do what I can to make sure that doesn't happen. Just tell me anything else you can remember so I can get out of here. The Prophet takes his cigar, lighting it again and having himself another puff. Prophet. Your partner, the boy. Sam. Bryce? Prophet. Tell him when he finds the girl, to kill her. Sam, startled by his ominous words, doesn't respond and leaves the room. Interior, NIST. Back section, continuous. Sam exits the Prophet's room and heads over to Danny by the computers. Interior, NIST. Computer section, continuous. At one of the computers, Danny is looking at files when Sam comes up to him. Danny. Any luck with the profit? Sam, more than I bargained for. We need to go. Where's Bryce? Sam looks back at the bar. Danny, left with Vivian. Sam, just great. What did you find on our next target? The circuit board markings are once again on Danny's arm as he types. Danny, everything. Address, phone calls, credit card expenses. He just bought tickets for a trip to Rapture, possibly in hopes of going off the grid. Sam, you didn't find anything about a girl? Danny, what? A girl? Sam, never mind. Let's just get out of here. Sam and Danny are about to leave when they hear an alert from the news station currently running on the television. On the screen, they see two news anchors, one dressed as a cowboy and the other dressed as a cowboy, both wearing collars. The first one to speak is the cowboy anchor, Marvin Hayes. Marvin, alright you next hunters, we have some breaking news for you. Fill 'em in, Barbara Walters. The screen switches to the cowgirl anchor, Barbara Walters. Barbara, smiling. Thanks, Marvin. Clearing her throat, Barbara's demeanor becomes serious. Barbara continued. Today, December 25th, 2062, the city of Eden has some tragic news. A picture of Mitchell Patterson appears on screen. Barbara continued. Mitchell Patterson, vice president of P&P Industries, was found assassinated in his home along with his wife, Jane Patterson, and their son and daughter, Harold and Diane. A picture of Sebastian Powell comes up. Barbara continued. Their bodies were discovered by President of P&P Industries Sebastian Powell after none of the Pattersons were answering his calls. He has not yet been reached for comment. Barbara's bubbly personality returns. Barbara continued. Okay, back to you, Marvin. The screen switches back to Marvin. Marvin, thanks, Barbara. Now I'm sure you guys are wondering why we brought this news to you. Well, the word is, at the crime scene, this symbol was found in blood. On screen, a picture of a snake head biting down into an apple. Marvin continued. For those of you who don't know, this is the symbol for the terrorist group New Genesis, and they have pulled off attacks before, but never one as extreme as the crimes committed today. 5 different pictures of 5 different people are revealed, along with their bounty worth. Marvin continued. The actual names are unknown, but their faces and aliases are available on the records. Each target is worth 20 million drebens, dead or alive, bringing the total bounty for taking down the entire New Genesis group to a whopping 100 million drebens. Sam and Danny's attention is piqued at the stating of the bounty. Danny, 100 million. Sam, that's a lot of drebens. Back to the news, Barbara now on screen. Barbara, acting surprised. Did you say 100 million drebens? Marvin, sure did. All it takes is a few brave hunters to take on the most dangerous terrorist group known to the city of Eden. There is an awkward pause. Barbara, anyway, why don't you tell the viewers the target's names and powers so they know who and what to be looking for? Marvin, oh right, almost forgot. The names of the members are... Suddenly, the television goes on standby, the signal lost. Frustration is heard throughout the NIS. The owner comes forward. NIS owner, to crowd. Calm down everyone. This has been happening to all the news stations for the past couple of weeks. It should be back in a few minutes. Danny, looking up. Odd. Sam, also looking up. And yet, surprisingly, not the strangest thing today. Come on, it's time to head back home. Sam and Danny turn from the computer section and head to the exit of the NIS. Cut 2. Interior, Vivian's house, Vivian's bedroom, same night. On a bed, Vivian and Bryce sit under the covers, both naked beneath. Vivian has a cigarette in her mouth, flicking her thumb to create a flame and light it. As she takes her first drag, Bryce finally speaks. Bryce, it seems I still can't get you to stop thinking of him. Vivian, you peaked. Bryce, a mental linkage between partners heightens the orgasm. Vivian, no wonder it's always so good. Vivian takes another drag. Bryce, not good enough apparently. Vivian, relax. Darren was my fiance. It's only natural that I still have thoughts about him. Bryce, but while we're having sex? Vivian, think of it as a compliment. You remind me of him. Not a lot of guys do. Bryce, I'm trying to make you forget about him. I know the pain it caused you to remember. Vivian, I know, love, but a girl's fiance dying is not something she can just forget. Be happy it's you I choose to relinquish my sorrows with. Bryce, lucky me. I'm sure your crew is just filled with jealousy. Vivian puts out her cigarette and sits on Bryce's lap. Vivian, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm quite the catch. Bryce, when you want to be caught. Vivian slaps Bryce on his chest. Vivian, don't get cute. You know you're the only one I've been with since Darren passed. Bryce looks away, but Vivian quickly puts her hand on his chin and turns his head back to her so they are looking at each other. Vivian continued, I like you, Bryce, and not just because of the nights we spend together. Now please, can you stop worrying about such trivial things? You're beginning to make me sad. Bryce, I know, I'm sorry. Let me make it up to you. Bryce kisses Vivian before rolling over in the bed so that he's on top of her now. Vivian, you know, one of these days you're going to have to tell me about your own past and who it was that gave you this. Vivian grips the cross hanging from his neck, and Bryce holds her hand as she holds the cross. Bryce, I promise one day, but not tonight. I wouldn't want to spoil the evening more than I already have. Vivian gives a small laugh before smiling. Vivian, you're sweet. When you're ready, you can tell me, but for now, make me forget my past for the night. Vivian leans her head up to kiss Bryce, Bryce kissing back. Exterior, Vivian's house, tree continuous. As the two lovers kiss, through the window, the same crow from earlier is seen outside on a tree branch, watching them momentarily before flying off. Exterior, Eden, sky, continuous. The crow flies through the city, over buildings, before reaching the wall of the city. Exterior, Eden's outskirts, sky, continuous. Once the crow flies over the wall, the outskirts of the city comes into view, showing snowy fields that lead into a large canyon, with the river at the bottom, and a snow-covered forest on the other side that extends significantly far. The crow dives down into the forest, navigating through the trees. More crows are seen joining the first as it flies. Cut 2. Interior. Rundown mansion. Study. Dawn. A mysterious man, his face not shown, is sitting in a chair by an unlit fireplace with a chessboard in front of him and an empty chair on the other side. The room looks rather old, the walls cracked and the windows boarded up, light peering through the wood. On the chessboard, pieces are set up as if a game had been going on for a while. Suddenly, the white king begins to move by itself. Next, it's the black knight that moves. The last piece to move is the white bishop before hearing mysterious man off screen. Check. Suddenly, a crow flies down the fireplace, perching itself atop the wood. The man's face, bearded and brooded, is finally shown as he continues to look at the chessboard rather than the crow, moving the black king on the board with his hand now. Mysterious man continued, You're late, Draken. The crow leaves the fireplace to move to the center of the room, the other crows flying down the fireplace to join the first crow as they seem to take the form of a man. He appears just as dark and mysterious, with longer hair, but is kneeling respectfully to the man in the chair. Draken, my apologies, Orion. I was only doing as requested. Orion picks up the white queen, still not looking, as he twirls the piece in his hand as he thinks of his next move. Orion. And? Draken. I found him. Bryce Harper. He's the next hunter. Orion. Is that so? I guess that girl's words actually had an effect on him. Orion places the queen down. Orion continued. Checkmate. Draken. Orion. Orion. You want to know why I had you watching such a person? Orion stands from the chair, moving to the boarded window. Draken. Well, yes. He doesn't seem to be much of a threat to our cause. Orion. Perhaps. Orion looks through the boards of the window, getting a clear view of the snow outside. Draken. Are you alright, Orion? You've been acting strange as of late. Orion turns his head to the side, still not looking at the kneeling Draken. Orion. Do my orders cause doubt in you, Draken? Draken. Of course not. I only stress my concerns for our leader. Orion finally turns around and looks at Draken. Orion. Your only concern should be getting back to Eden before the plan commences. Draken. Forgive me, Orion. I meant no offense. Orion. Save your excuses. Just get back to the others in time. Draken. And what of Bryce Harper? Do you wish for me to continue my surveillance? Orion. It won't be necessary. You've already given me what I wanted to know. Draken. Yes, Orion. I shall take my leave now. Orion nods, Draken's body separating into multiple crows as they head back up the chimney. Once again, Orion's face is off camera as he's turned around to the boarded window. Orion. And so begins the dawn. Cut 2. Interior, Vivian's house, Vivian's bedroom, noon. Bryce wakes up in the bed alone. His hand moves to the nightstand, grabbing his earpiece. He presses on it, a small holographic screen popping up saying, "You have 2 messages." With his other hand, he taps the screen, the first message appearing. It's from Vivian. Vivian, voiceover. Left early for a mission. Lock up when you leave. Bryce deletes the message, looking at the second. It's from Sam. Sam, voiceover. Bryce, hurry and get home. I need to talk to you about some stuff. Bryce raises an eyebrow. Bryce. Stuff? What stuff? Bryce deletes the message and closes the hologram. Cut 2. Exterior, Vivian's house, moments later. Bryce steps out of the door, placing his thumb on the door's scanner to lock it. He then turns around and walks down the block, squinting at the sunlight as it reflects off the snow. Cut 2. Exterior, PMP Industries, courtyard, same time. People walking in and out of the building in office attire, some with collars, some without. Interior, PMP Industries, lobby, continuous. Inside, the lobby is very spacious with glass doors and windows, but it's heavily guarded by NCTs as people walk in a line through scanners that look like futuristic metal detectors. A person with a briefcase steps under the scanner. A red light suddenly goes up and down his body. Random NCT soldier number 1. You're clear. The man with the briefcase walks on, another person stepping into the scanner. By the doors, 3 people wearing cloaks walk in, joining the line. Back 2. Exterior, Eden, streets. Bryce is seen turning the corner of the city streets, passing various stores and people as they walk by. Some stores have no next allowed signs up. Flying cars are seen overhead. Bryce's eyes are observing the city life as he goes. He sees a group of 4 kids having a snowball fight on the corner. 3 are wearing collars, 1 without. Across the street, a woman yells over at the child without the collar. Neighborhood woman. Timmy, get over here. All of the boys stop, the one without the collar turning his head to the woman. Timmy, but Mom, we're playing. Timmy's mom. Boy, don't make me tell you again. Timmy, alright. To the other boys. Bye guys. The kids wave as Timmy joins his mother across the street. Timmy's mom, spanking Timmy. Are you crazy? What did I say to you about playing with those necks? Timmy, ow, it was only a snowball fight. Timmy's mom, I don't care what it is. You know that kind's dangerous. Frowning, Bryce keeps on walking. Back 2. Interior, PMP Industries, lobby. The line has moved to a point where the 3 cloaked individuals are next. The first one steps up into the scanner. It goes over the cloaked person, but this time, a buzzing sound is heard. To the side, one of the NCT soldier is looking at an X-ray screen. Next DNA found appearing. Random NCT Soldier number 2. He's the next. Random NCT Soldier number 1 walks closer to the cloaked person as he aims his gun at him. Random NCT Soldier number 1. You, take off your hood. Why aren't you wearing your... Without warning, the cloaked man lunges forward, managing to take the gun from the random NCT Soldier number 1 and holding him hostage with it. Cloaked man. My collar? Only slaves wear such a thing. Random NCT Soldier number 1. Looking under his cloak. You're cloaked man. That's right. Other soldiers quickly gather around and aim their guns. People are heard panicking in the background. Random NCT Soldier number 5. Drop the weapon and let go of the soldier. Cloaked man. If that's really what you want. The cloaked man drops the gun, pushing his hostage towards the soldier, a glow seen on the hand he used to push. Suddenly, random NCT number 1 explodes in front of the other soldiers as if he was made of dynamite, the explosion causing massive damage to the lobby and to the civilians. The smoke clears, many are revealed to be dead, and there is a large dome made of ice is seen in place of where the cloaked man was. The ice shatters, and all 3 of the cloaked individuals are revealed, this time with their hoods down. 2 are men, one in a ponytail and the other giant size, and the last one is a gorgeous woman with caramel colored skin. All are in their late 20s. One of the soldiers manages to survive the blast and stays low among the bodies as he activates his earpiece. Surviving NCT soldier, whispering, HQ, come in. We're under attack at P&P Industries. It's new. A pair of large boots is seen by his head. Surviving NCT soldier continued. Genesis. Surviving NCT soldier looks up and sees a giant man looking down at him. The boot lifts up, then slams down, crushing the NCT soldier's skull. Giant man. The word's out. Gorgeous woman. I'm pretty sure the word's been out since Mav's explosion. She glares at the ponytail man known as Mav. Mav. What? It was either that or get shot. Gorgeous woman. Let's just hurry this up before reinforcements show. Gorgeous woman starts running over to the elevators at the back of the lobby, stepping over dead bodies and rubble as Mav and Giant Man follow. Mav, any idea what this actually is, Glacia? Gorgeous woman. No, but Orion says it's something that could change everything between us and humanity. They reach the elevator. Mav, prophetic bullshit. Am I the only one starting to question their belief in him? Glacia, yes, and I suggest you stop complaining before we start questioning your allegiance to us. Mav stops talking and Glacia pushes the holographic button for the elevator, but it doesn't appear to work. Glacia, continue. Shit, security must have shot down the elevator. 2 giant men. Biggs, a hand please. Biggs, you got it. Biggs moves to the elevator doors and pulls them open with his bare hands, showing an empty elevator shaft that goes deep underground. Mav, whistling. That's pretty far down. How do you expect to get down there without an elevator? Glacia. Biggs? Biggs nods. Mav. Wait, hold on. Interior, P&P Industries, elevator shaft, continuous. Biggs takes Glacia and Mav by their shirts and jumps down the elevator shaft. Mav. Shit! Biggs lands on his feet, the ground trembling upon his landing, and he puts them down. Mav continued. Damn it, Biggs. I know your body can take it, but give me some time to prepare myself. Glacia. We don't have time. Now hurry and pull yourself together. As Glacia speaks, she places her hand on the door to the bottom floor. It freezes over and she steps. Biggs walks over and punches the ice, the frozen door instantly shattering to reveal a hallway. However, bullets start flying through the doorway and all 3 of them immediately cling to the walls of the elevator shaft. Glacia continued. Fuck, they are waiting for us. Mav, you think? Glacia. Biggs, are you okay? Biggs looks down at his bicep. A bullet shells. Biggs pulling out bullet. Only a scratch. The bullets are still being fired. Glacia. Okay, once they stop to reload, we need to give them everything we got. Back to exterior Eden Streets. Bryce is walking when he approaches a main street. A flying ambulance goes by with its siren on, and tons of people are running through the street in the same direction. Bryce pulls one of them aside. Bryce, excuse me, why is everybody going that way? Eden civilian, You don't know? There was an explosion at PMP. Bryce. What? Eden Civilian number 1. Yeah, the news says that it's New Genesis. A woman calls from afar. Eden Civilian number 2. Herman, let's go. Herman. Sorry, man. Gotta go. Bryce. It's alright, thank you. Herman runs off to join the woman as they start running down the block with everyone else. Bryce begins to walk in the same direction. Back to Interior PMP Industries, elevator shaft. The shooting finally stops. Glacia. Now! They are about to climb into the hallway when a flock of crows suddenly fly past them. Screams and cries are heard and all 3 of them look into the hallway. Interior PMP Industries underground lab hallway. Continuous. Draken is standing with his hands in his pockets. Several dead bodies of NCT soldiers on the floor. A few crows are still feasting on the corpses before returning to Draken's body. Glacia, Mav, and Big step out from the elevator shaft into the hallway, making their way over. Draken, bowing head. Glacia. Glacia. Draken. Mav. What took you so long, Crow? We had to start without you. Draken. Apologies. Orion needed me for some urgent matters. The 4 start walking through the hallway, noticing a few scientists running away, but they let them go. Mav. Urgent? What could be more urgent than this? Biggs. Yeah. Wasn't this supposed to be his big plan? 2 soldiers pop out from around the corner. Draken sending crows at them. They walk past the screaming bodies down another hallway. Draken. Nothing that is a need of concern to the 2 of you. Mav. Looking at Glacia. Oh, but I bet the Ice Queen over here can know. Another soldier pops out. This time Glacia freezing him over with an ice blast. They still keep walking. Draken. What Orion chooses to discuss with Glacia in their private moments is not my business. Mav. Of course. A soldier comes out of a bathroom door, buckling his pants in the middle of the hallway. Mav quickly knocks away his gun, then takes him by the neck with one hand and pins him to a wall. Mav continued. You couldn't have picked a worse moment for yourself. Mav places his hands on the soldier's stomach as it glows again. A popping sound is heard and the soldier becomes lifeless. Mav drops his body to the side, revealing blood against the wall, and the soldier's entrails smeared against it. Mav continued, smirking. I almost feel bad sometimes. Glacia. Mav, stop admiring your own work. We still have a mission to finish. Mav looks to see Glacia, Biggs, and Draken down the hall. Mav. Yeah, the mission. Mav starts walking as the rest disappear behind the corner. Mav continued, to himself. I only just killed the guy who was coming out of the bathroom. Nobody ever sees that. Like, why was he still in there? Interior, underground lab, vault entrance, continuous. Mav turns the corner to see Glacia, Draken, and Big staring at a door that seems like a vault. Mav, is this it? Glacia. Yeah, just like Orion said. Biggs starts walking over the vault door, cracking his knuckles. Biggs. Alright guys, just give me a second, and this thing will be open in no time. Glacia puts her arm out in front of Biggs. Glacia. That won't be necessary, Biggs. Orion gives the password. Draken, would you kindly do the honors? Draken. Of course, Glacia. Draken walks over to the sensor on the wall, a holographic keypad appearing. He types in the numbers 12030, then steps back to let the vault open. Mav. Finally, we can find out why this is so important to Orion. The vault finally opens, revealing a freight elevator. Mav continued. And it's another elevator. Great. Glacia. Quit complaining and let's go. Glacia walks into the freight elevator as well as Draken. Mav, mocking. Quit complaining and let's go. Biggs chuckles and both of them join the other 2 in the elevator. Interior PMP Industries freight elevator continuous. Glacia. Draken, what did Orion say to say? Draken. Cryo chamber. Glacia. Elevator. Cryo chamber. Elevator. Cryo chamber. The freight elevator starts to move down as the vault door closes. Cut 2. Exterior, PMP Industries, front, moments later. There is a large crowd standing outside of the courtyard of the building. The crowd is made up of mostly civilians, both with college and without, as well as news teams, firefighters, EMTs, and NCT soldiers that are trying to keep the crowd back. Bryce is making his way through the crowd until he gets to one of the soldiers who is pushing people away. Random NCT soldier number 11. You have to get back, sir. Bryce holds out his ID card. Bryce. It's alright, I'm the next hunter. I can help. The soldier looks at it closer. Random NCT soldier number 11. I'm sorry, but we're not allowing any hunters in either. Bryce, voiceover. You will let me by. The look on the soldier's face becomes zombie-like. Random NCT soldier number 11. I will let you by. The soldier turns and walks towards the courtyard, Bryce following. Interior, PMP Industries lobby, moments later. Random NCT soldier number 11 and Bryce enter the lobby. Other soldiers and medical units are in the lobby, tending to the wounded and sifting through the wreckage of the lobby. Noticing that Bryce is out of place, another soldier goes up to them. Random NCT soldier number 14. Hey, he can't be in here. Bryce stops as soldier 11 turns to random NCT soldier number 14. Random NCT soldier number 11. I'm under direct orders from Major Hawkins to escort him to the crime scene. Random NCT soldier number 14. Major Hawkins? But he isn't even here yet. Soldier number 11 suddenly punches soldier number 14 in the face, Bryce running over to the elevator shaft. Random NCT soldier number 14 continues. From the floor. What the fuck are you doing? Looks over at Bryce. Somebody stop him! Before any of the other soldiers can do anything, Bryce jumps into the elevator shaft. Soldier number 11 shakes his head. Random NCT soldier number 11. Ugh, what happened? Looking at soldier number 14. Why are you on the floor, Jerry? Interior, PMP Industries, elevator shaft, continuous. Bryce as he slowly floats down to the bottom of the elevator shaft. He wastes no time hurrying into the open elevator doorway. Interior, PMP Industries, underground lab hallway, continuous. Bryce climbs out of the elevator shaft and into the hallway, immediately noticing the dead bodies on the floor. His head turns to look down another hallway, seeing more dead bodies. Pulling out his Jericho 941, he begins following the trail of death. Cut 2. Interior, PMP Industries, underground cryo chamber, same time. The door to the elevator opens, Glacia, Draken, Mad, and Biggs walking out. They get out of the elevator and make their way to the cryopod at the end of the room. Glacia, this is supposed to be it. Mad, this? Tell me you're joking. Biggs, being at eye level with the cryopod window, looks in to see the eyes of the girl that is sleeping within it. Biggs, looks like a girl, young too. Mav, Orion must have finally got tired of you, Glacia. Glacia, quiet man. To Draken, any idea on what this is about? Draken, I'm still trying to figure it out myself. Still orders are orders. Glacia, nodding. Biggs? Biggs, sure. Biggs put his hand on the side of the pod, fingers sinking into the metal as he rips the metallic cylinder out from against the wall and holds it over his head with ease. Glacia, great. Now let's get out of here. Mav, and how the hell do you suppose we do that? There's probably a bunch of SCTs up there waiting for us. Glacia, relax, Mav. Orion said that this place was built next to an abandoned hydroelectric power tunnel. If you blow a hole in the wall, we should be able to get out of here. Mav, this place was built by a power tunnel? What poor city planning? Mav starts rolling up his sleeves. Back to Interior, underground lab, vault entry. Bryce as he stands in front of the vault door, using his telekinetic powers to force the door open. There is a ringing in his head, but he ignores it. Suddenly, he hears an explosion from below. Bryce, better hurry. As soon as there is enough room to squeeze through, Bryce jumps down yet another elevator shaft. Interior, underground lab, freight elevator shaft, continuing. The top of the freight elevator comes into view as Bryce falls. Not wanting to lose time, Bryce holds out his hand. Screech! The metal of the freight elevator is ripped open to create a hole wide enough for Bryce's falling body to fit through. Interior PMP Industries freight elevator continuous. Bryce falls slow, but his feet don't touch the floor of the freight elevator. Instead, he flies into the center of the room, observing the crowd chamber as he floats and noticing a giant hole in the wall. He quickly flies through it and enters the dark tunnel. Cut to interior hydroelectric power tunnel. Moments later, Bryce, in the barely lit tunnel, flies frantically to catch up with New Genesis. There's a turn. He keeps flying, but is at least getting closer. He knows it. He can tell because he's starting to hear their thoughts. Glacia, voiceover. Finally, the light. Draken, voiceover. What could Orion be thinking with this? Mad, voiceover. Why a girl? Biggs, voiceover. Fuck, that's right. They are loud in his head as he flies. He's finally at the next turn. Bam! They're there, and Bryce is already firing. If only he hadn't picked the worst possible target, especially when the shot was only meant to maim. Biggs. Ah! Biggs stumbles from the shot, the crowd pod atop his shoulder, falling forward to the edge of the tunnel. Mav. Biggs! Biggs standing up. I'm fine. Who the fuck was that? They all turn to see Bryce with his gun out, the sunlight pouring against their backs from the opening of the power tunnel. Outside, a transport vehicle can be seen by the side of a river. Bryce, that's as far as you go, New Genesis. Draken, voiceover. It's that hunter. Bryce, voiceover. What do you mean, that hunter? Not giving an answer, Draken's body disperses into crows and they all fly toward Bryce. He shoots twice, hitting 2 crows, but many are still left. Giving up on his gun, Bryce sends the birds back against the round walls of the tunnel with a psychic blast. The crows gather again to revert back to Draken as he's now on bended knee, rising to his feet. However, before Bryce can make another attack, stab, 2 daggers made of ice hit his right shoulder and right pectoral, knocking him back a step to clutch his right side with his left. The ringing is back as he rips out 1 dagger, but he can't slow down as Biggs is now charging at him. Bryce whips his head to the left, Biggs' body suddenly being thrust into the left wall of the tunnel with a thud. Using the moment, Bryce rips out the second dagger and tosses his gun into the air. As Bryce's attention is on Biggs, the gun starts shooting on its own to keep the others at bay. To avoid being shot, a wall of ice rises in front of Glacia, Mav, and Draken. The bullets hit but don't get through, momentarily protecting them. Then, crash. Biggs' body is thrust through the ice, his heavy frame shattering it on impact and knocking over all of his allies in the process. Glacia looks up, seeing Bryce huffing and puffing. The gun flies back into his hand and he aims it at them on the floor. The ringing comes back into his head and he clutches his forehead. The ringing then turns into menacing voices as his eyes glow red. Voices, voiceover. It's okay, kill them. Bryce, voiceover. Voices, voiceover. Kill. Bryce, voiceover. I can't. Voices, voiceover. You know you want to. Bryce, voiceover. Shut up. Mav notices Bryce being distracted. Mav, fuck this. Getting up, Mav runs towards Bryce. About halfway there, Bryce is able to shake off his mental conflict and aims his gun at Mav, firing and hitting him in the left shoulder. Mav falls to the floor, but uses one hand to push himself up. Mav continued. You think a single bullet will keep me down, you son of a bitch? The one hand begins to glow. Quickly, Bryce looks over at the crown pod and it begins to fly toward him through the tunnel. Glacia. Shit, Mav, stop! It's too late. As the crown pod passes Mav, the energy from his hand travels across the floor underneath Bryce. Once the crown pod reaches Bryce, boom, the explosion occurs, knocking back Glacia, Draken, and Biggs out of the tunnel. Cut to exterior, Eden's outskirts, River Canyon, moments later. Glacia struggles to regain consciousness. Draken. Glacia, wake up. In a slight daze, she looks around to see Biggs running off into the burning tunnel and disappearing into the smoke. Biggs. Mav! Glacia then turns to see Draken standing over her and trying to help her up. Draken. Come on, Glacia, we have to go. Glacia sees Biggs step out of the fire an unconscious Mav in his arms with several burn marks over his body. She then manages to stand up, Draken helping her. All four of them make their way to the ship. Glacia, what about the cryopod? Draken, forget the cryopod. The mission's botched. We have to get out of here before the NCTs investigate the explosion. Glacia, but Orion. Draken, I know, but we can't do anything about it now. Glacia looks down and they continue onward. Her and Draken enter the ship through the back, Biggs with Mav following shortly after. Moments later, the ship takes off, leaving the river canyon. Interior hydroelectric power tunnel. Moments later, a rumbling is heard underneath the debris inside the tunnel before the rocks begin to levitate to reveal Bryce underneath, virtually unscathed. He steps past the floating debris and makes his way outside the tunnel, the cryopod also undamaged, following in the air behind himself. Bryce looks around, noticing that New Genesis had escaped, and reaches into his pocket, pulling out his earpiece and placing it in his ear. Bryce, call Sam. Bryce waits a few moments, turning around to look at the floating cryopod. End of pilot.